Hey everybody, welcome to the Cosmic Panel. We are reviewing The Marvels today. We had just got out of the early screening of The Marvels. Be warned, this is a spoiler-full review, and I will be beginning with the spoilers right now. Beast, 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 beast. Let's go, baby.
Yeah,
My
Hank
boy
McCoy.
Hank. My boy Hank in full effect. We got Monica on the other side in an alternate universe, and she's chilling with the X-Men apparently. So
Yeah, they had to set
I
that
don't
up
know.
somehow. So
I don't know what suit her mom is supposed to be wearing.
it looked like a Star Fox suit, and I was really
It
confused.
did. It did look like Star Fox, didn't it?
Yeah, I was
I don't know.
but they called her binary, so I was like, it must be like a reference to the binary form that Captain Marvel
The
usually
suit.
takes.
It's when
she's red.
Yeah, no.
You know?
Now I see it. Yeah, the Uncanny X-Men first appearance, a binary. That cover.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Bet.
it must be a
That's
reference
true.
to that.
Okay, bet. That makes sense. But yeah, welcome to our review of the Marvels. Lucas and I both went in with very low expectations, and honestly, I don't think it was all that bad.
Yeah,
I think it was a fun action movie that had a lot of good funny moments and a lot of really cool action and fight scenes, and I thought it was enjoyable. And speaking of cats are a heavy feature in this movie. I thought the flerkens were awesome.
yeah.
And,
My cat.
Lucas has one here now.
Oh, she ran away. Okay, she disappeared.
Lucas has one in the room with him now. Just gets eaten. But yeah, what are your overall thoughts?
Honestly, very good action. Surprisingly good action. From a movie that I didn't really expect that from, to be honest. If anything, I thought the action was going to be the weakest point. The storytelling was fine. At points, it was very good. At another points, it was fine, like manageable. I didn't really care that much for the villain as much as they probably wanted me to. I think it would have probably been more interesting if we started the film from her perspective, but not from her picking up the bracelet, but from Ms. Marvel crashing through the throne room and like killing like everyone there. Like that would have made it more like impactful, I feel like, instead of getting it significantly later on.
The past slew of Marvel movies have all opened with intro sequences featuring the villains, and I think that's a great strategy, but one, I don't want it to be overused, and two, you're totally correct, they should have opened with that if they were going to go for one thing or the other.
Yeah,
because the whole movie I'm just hating this character because she's just obnoxious and looks like she's just fully in the wrong, but you find out that she's, her actions aren't unwarranted. So yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah, like easily you could have made it, I hate to say horror movie because I feel like I've said this multiple times, but the MCU definitely needs to at times realize that there are stuff from horror films that really do lead to like a suspenseful moment. Like have Miss Marvel crash through and it be blinding light and like her running away down a hallway or something like that as like Miss Marvel's like flying toward her. Like that would scare the fuck out of anyone. And that'd be a great way to paint the difference between Captain Marvel now versus the Annihilator. It'd be very interesting. It'd be a cool dichotomy, I feel like.
For sure. But yeah, I thought that this film wasn't too heavy-handed on the villain slash like conflict plot. Like it was pretty clear cut. Like she's going to different planets, she's stealing resources. And that was enough for me because of the interesting dynamic between Monica, Kamala, and Carol.
Yeah.
I think that they worked really well together. I like that it was really steps of the same character, You have Kamala, who looks up to Carol so highly. She views her as like a god, like she praises her so much. And then Monica, who feels let down by this, god-like
deity,
figure. So I thought that was really cool.
and then Carol
I
seeing herself as like a flawed human.
Yeah,
It was a lot of interesting dynamics that they presented. Did they handle all of them as much as I wanted them to? Not, but when they did handle it, it was good.
but I really like the training sequence where they're practicing swapping.
Yeah, that was fun.
I thought that was really clever, honing in on that thing and just showing that they're each characters by themselves, and they each have their moments in the movie. I think they each have like their crowning moments, but they each also are flawed.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, her phasing through weapons and her suits and stuff like that was very interesting. It was a unique dynamic that I kind of actually didn't expect. But also, I love the way that they evolved Kamala's powers in a way, like her grabbing, like making a wall ledge so that she could grab it and spin around and kick someone, and her sliding more, and her using her hands more. Still not a fan of those powers, but they are significantly better portrayed within this film because probably they had a better budget. Simple as that.
definitely, and I liked it more when it bounced off Monica and Carol's abilities.
Yeah, definitely.
Simply put, it worked. It was unique and worked well with their other powers.
Yeah. Also, really did love the Miss Marvel cast. Most of them returning. Those actors are very good in their roles. Even the mother, especially, surprisingly, always just killing it. Her being like, "No, Kamala, don't go," and also being like, "If you do something, if my daughter dies or gets hurt, I'm going to kill you." Like very, very realistic mother portrayal that felt very grounded. So phenomenal in that department. But I was gonna say the weakest point I feel like is I don't feel like we got enough time with Monica and Carol just by themselves. We got that one scene and that was decent, but we needed more. I wanted to feel a little bit more of Monica's anger, and I wanted to see more of Carol's guilt. I know that she carries a lot of guilt, but it felt like at times when Kamala would enter, the tension would drop. And I loved Kamala in the film; she was great. But there were those moments where I wanted them to kind of just sit in like tension.
That first conversation when they were fixing whatever the heck in the ship should have been longer, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all.
Yeah, it should have. It felt like that scene was cut in half, and there was a second half to that conversation, and then it would have resolved into the next scene. Because the next scene they were like smiling and shit, and I was like, "What? That doesn't really make sense."
Well, again, like you're saying, Kamala shows up in the next scene and she breaks the tension, which is her role in that trio, So, yeah.
I also did love the fact that she had to come to a realization that like she can't save everyone. That was pretty brutal. Was surprised by that. Also, one more complaint I have. I did not like the Captain Marvel costume. I love the Photon costume. But I really didn't like the Captain Marvel costume. It felt like it dulled most of her vibrancy. Like the colors were like dropped down like 2 shades, and it was just way too dark in comparison to Monica and Kamala's costumes. On top of that, why did Kamala have to get a new costume? She literally just got the costume. Like, we don't need a new costume, and it's over designed to hell. Like the other one was perfect.
MCU costume designs will always be a problem for me. They love to overcomplicate everything with extra lines. I could see what they were going for by making Carol really dark and making Kamala really bright. Like, I get that, but yeah, it just missed the mark. And I will say though, I did like that Monica had the underarm fabric to reference her very first comic look when she first debuted. I did like that moment. But yeah, the costumes are always a fucking struggle. They can never settle on something, and Carol has gone through an unnecessary amount of suits herself in the short time that she's been part of the MCU. Like, she had an Endgame look and they threw that away really fast. Like, you know, they gotta settle on something and stick with it.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I will always complain about with MCU costuming is they never wear their masks. They always have to show their faces off. It's an actor thing. I most of the time it is an actor thing. Most of the time. I'm sure there's a minority there, but most of the time the actors want their faces on screen because they don't want, CGI to replace everything they do. I think the only reason that, Iron Man got away with it is because that they could show inside, for him talking to Jarvis and shit. But yeah.
Also, Iman Vellani, I feel like she would have wanted to wear the mask, but I have a gut feeling that they probably told her, "Oh, we'll add it in post," and they just never did. And
I'd believe that.
Yeah, it's just like if you're establishing this character as a secret identity, having a secret identity, commit to it. Give her the mask. It's not even that complicated of a fucking mask. It's literally just covering her eyes. Like it's super simple.
Big time.
But yeah, any major complaints about the film?
I would definitely, say that, like, I heard the reviews of this were awful and people are bashing on this like crazy. And while I understand, like, the MCU fatigue, like, I'm definitely feeling it myself.
Yeah.
This is definitely not the worst MCU project. Like,
far from it.
There was a clear path in this movie. You know what I mean? They didn't, and I wouldn't say it's super complicated, but that's what's good about it, is that they don't overcomplicate the plot. Yeah. They're like, you're going to get character development from these three characters. They're going to have to solve a problem, and there's going to be good action, and that's pretty much it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't think it needs more than that.
The short runtime definitely helped.
Short runtime, I think, is a great thing to normalize in
Commit
the MCU.
to it. You don't need to be 2 hours.
But I mean, for me, I could have used a little bit more time with Saber. It
Fair.
seemed like they didn't have enough resources, and I thought that this was like a huge space station, and they kind of went to the water planet. They were floating overhead, and then they had a catastrophic failure, and they didn't have like enough resources to get everyone out of that ship. So that was a little weird to me. So definitely could have used a little more Saber stuff, because Nick has been up there for some time now doing this shit, and
Man spent 5 years there.
I just expected a little more from them. And I can't lie, the flerken kitten sequence was amazing. Like, hilarious. That was fucking hilarious. But yeah, it's just a little weird that Nick didn't have like a bit of a backup plan there. Like,
yeah,
because at the end of the day, he's just a guy in space. If some shit goes down, like, he's a human.
Nick is the man with the plan. Like, that's his whole thing.
That's his whole thing, exactly. So that would kind of be my only major complaint. But
yeah,
hey, it allowed for flerken kittens eating everyone. So
yeah, that was pretty funny. That was hilarious. I loved Kamala's "I'm sorry." She fucking just aimed the kitten at this poor, and that one woman hiding from them and then just turning and seeing them.
Yeah.
It's like horrific. Yeah.
So that was fun.
Let's talk about the first action scene. I really want to talk about that also.
You're still in the learning stages of figuring out how the swapping is working and taking place. So it's disorienting, but in a fun way, I guess you would say. Yeah. Kamala's family shines in that sequence. Monica has to learn how to fly. So yeah, it comes pretty quickly in the film. So I would say it effectively captures and hooks the audience in for the ride, I guess I would say.
Yeah. I definitely think it highlighted each character's strength, and you could tell that the fight choreography was really well done, because I mean, you have to literally put the person exactly where they were, or the other one was, so you have to have everything mapped out. You can't leave anything to chance. If someone gets pulled through a door, you have to have them the other person pulled through the door in the exact same way. If someone is against a wall, you have to have them in the same exact position against the wall. Like, it's a very unique situation for fight choreography, but it really does highlight how well done those are. And I thought that was easily the best action scene in the entire film. The other ones later were okay, but that first one was like, that really sold me on the film, honestly, that first action scene, because I was like, okay, we've established each character's fighting style. We've established the quantum things to make sure that like Carol doesn't just blow up the entire planet and call it a day. And it was very well done.
For sure. Definitely a unique situation that I think was helpful to distinguish this movie's fight scenes from every other MCU movie's fight scenes, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I was surprised that they committed to Monica being on the other side of the dimension, honestly. That was a surprising... I really thought they would take the cop-out that Ant-Man did. I guess they must have either heard the criticism or already had that planned. Because for Ant-Man, it felt like a cop-out when he got out of the quantum realm, for me personally.
We're talking about a few times this happening now, like... I mean, and the first one is from Avengers. Iron Man flying up into the portal that the Chitaurians are coming through, and you know he shouldn't have made it, but he does, you know, he makes it, and he's not unscathed. But yeah, I mean, the last minute saving thing is such an MCU trope that I'm glad that they finally broke that.
Yeah, I mean, we literally had it even in Guardians 3, like Peter jumping out and
all the time, man, all the time.
No, but this was surprisingly refreshing to see it not immediately resolve, which was nice.
And because I know that they're, you know, making a push for multiversal stuff, I was afraid going to this movie that it was going to be really heavy-handed, but it's really just a little epilogue kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's not all over the movie.
Yeah.
And while I do feel that this phase of the MCU has definitely been disjointed, I like that this didn't try to make up for lost time in a really forced way. This was sort of like she has to seal this thing, and now she's going to be stuck on the other side, and now we'll get a lens on this other universe through Monica's eyes.
Yeah. Young Avengers setup with Kamala was really, actually surprisingly funny. I actually really enjoyed that. I love the way that she was parodying Nick Fury. I love that they talked about the iPad and then later brought it back up. Plus, her meeting Kate Bishop felt natural. It felt fun. So I'm excited to see where this Young Avengers is going to go. Because they have a lot of possibilities for characters that they could introduce, but they need to hammer them out. We have Wiccan and Speed, but they need to be resolved. We have Scar, we have Ironheart, we have like all these different characters, but they need to be ironed out. So that we can get actual characters out of them instead of just, they're the children of these people. But Kate and Kamala so far are easily the two strongest out of everyone in the group, characterization wise. So if we can bounce them off of Kamala and Kate, I feel like we can build their actual personalities out.
I mean, I would say America Chavez is a good character, just wasn't
I just keep forgetting about
given
her, I'm
enough.
not gonna lie.
No, exactly, because she was, you know, not given enough in Multiverse of Madness. So, but yeah, definitely potential there. You know, I'm just praying for some uniformity, some cohesion amongst the next Marvel projects, because they got to start rolling shit out to get people excited again. Young Avengers would be exciting. Multiverse stuff done right is going to be exciting.
I don't know 100%. A lot of people are multiverse fatigued, I feel like, also.
No, for sure. But I mean, like, Multiverse of Madness was such a fucking mess that that is how not to do it. And there's a proper way that they can do it now with Monica that would be exciting. But anyway, I'm excited for this final Loki episode. I need it to land. I really need this to have a good landing. So, yeah. Yeah.
So, for my score, I'm going to go with 3 Saber agents eaten by flerkens out of 5.
For me, I'm going to go with 3.5 quantum bands out of 5. Comment below what you guys thought of the film, And yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely tell us what you think and what you are excited versus not excited for with the rest of the MCU. But yeah, if you are interested in any of our reviews, definitely check them down below. We have a playlist of them, and we're going to be pumping out the Loki review soon enough, so definitely watch that show and keep an ear out for that.
Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, support your local movie theater, and watch a movie. See you guys.